Hello, good morning, and welcome back to the Football Terrace. Two major stories this morning, casting doubts over transfers for Arsenal and Manchester United, respectively. The first, PSG, and maybe even Chelsea. There are muted reports that they are coming in to try and steal Houssem Aouar away from Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal are yet to bid on offer that is deemed acceptable to Olympique Lyon for what is a very talented midfielder and attacking midfielder in Aouar. Arsenal fans know they need this improvement in creativity moving forward. With just 3 days of the transfer market remaining, can they land their man, or will they lose out to Paris Saint-Germain or Chelsea, or maybe just lose out altogether in the coming days? Also, Manchester United's pursuit of Alex Telles has hit a kind of crossroads. The last 24 hours or so have been very, very quiet indeed in relation to this deal. There are some reports that Manchester United may have lost out on the player, that the deal is reportedly dying and is falling away as Man United struggle to meet for whether it's a literal struggle because they don't have the money, or whether it's a conscious decision, but so far have not met the demands of Porto in relation to the fee. The media keep telling us that Porto want 20 million euros, and the amount Man United are reportedly willing to offer continues to change. Changes on almost a daily basis. Sometimes I read yesterday as low as 8 million euros that we're only willing to offer. I want your views. I want your opinions on this right now. Hit the like button and share buttons. Will these deals happen? Are these deals going to go through? That's the big question. Now, everyone knows how positive I like to be, but when it comes to both of these deals, there's just something I'm feeling a little bit nervous about. However, the closer you get towards the end of the transfer window, often the quicker that these deals can be done. I want your views. I want your opinions. Skype lines are open if you want to phone up and if you want to come and have your say. But before you do any of that, hit the like button right now. So important to the Football Terrace that you do that for us. As an independent, small YouTube channel, your like button is the most important. And once you've done that, go into our description below and please subscribe to our second channel, which is called the Football Terrace Clips. So all of the best moments from our shows clipped up. Big one that's going viral in relation to man like DT's little attack on Chelsea from a few days ago. We've got iTest call on there where he told us all directly that Dembele is a better signing than Sancho. Get on there and tell us what you think. It's becoming a morning regular now on the Football Terrace. Welcome back, Terry Tibbs. How you doing, mate?
I'm all good, mate. How are you, Terry, this morning?
Mate, I'm fine. I'm obviously, as a United fan, conscious of these deals not going through. And I'm sort of sitting there this morning, I'm reading reports that the Alex Telles deal is in doubt. There are other people that just think this is the sort of calm and silence before the storm. It's likely that Smalling's exit will be announced today, and then the Telles coming in deal will happen. What's your thoughts on that? And of course, Arsenal fans very confident. I know that Fabrizio tweeted last night they're still in talks for Houssem Aouar. Arsenal fans still confident, but doubt is starting to creep in now. Give us your opinions on them, mate.
Well, I've read a few reports as well. There was one report that I read on Terrace that United actually made an offer, and it was that diabolical. Porto didn't even respond to it. They just completely left it. But
I read that, yeah.
With the situation now, I think with how Shaw's being performing, I think he's need to get this deal done, Tez. I think it needs to happen. I think it's now or never. I hear what you were saying before about it getting closer to the deadline day and transfers come thick and fast. They do, and I agree with you. You know, the last sort of 3 days before the transfer window shuts, everything seems to go manic. I remember Liverpool with Fabinho pulling that out of nowhere, and everyone was like, "We've signed Fabinho. Since when did that happen?" And I get what you're saying. I just, at the minute, I think it's a little bit worrying for United fans and as well as Arsenal fans. I mean, I'd just pay the money for Aouar. I really would. He's a wonderful player. Pay the money, whatever they're asking for, just pay it. I think it's very worrying for United and Arsenal fans at the moment.
No, I understand. I get the worry. The worry has to be there on so many levels, because our clubs have let us down on a number of occasions. So I completely understand why people are skeptical, why people are concerned, why people are worried. That makes complete and utter sense to me. The the interesting thing with the Tellus deal is, you know what it's like, mate. Negativity sells more than anything else, and there's quite a few positive stories out there about Tellus, but they seem to kind of go under the radar, and it's the negative ones that stand through,
Yeah.
because there is exactly what you said, mate. There is that worry, there is that concern, there is that element of, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? This is good, bad. This is good. What's going on? And I think that's where the boards just need to hurry up and get these deals along. You know, United fans are still focusing on this Sancho situation as an example. It would appease everybody if this afternoon Alex Telles is announced and he's a Manchester United player. I think everybody can relax. Everybody can say, okay, well, we now need to move on and get our main target, but at least we've got another body in an additional person, which is really important. And on Arsenal, I think what's really interesting with that, it's kind of gone under the radar a little bit, that, you know, there's all this talk about, you know, the big talk this morning that William Saliba is going to be sent out on loan. And that's not an attack on him. I heard this morning that he's only 19 and reportedly only lost his mother a few months ago. He had injuries last season. He's, you know, moved to a new country, new culture, which is, it's not really open yet, the UK, is it? You know, you're not here and experiencing the joys of London as you normally would because of everything going on. So there's reports that he may be getting sent out on loan to Rennes for a period of time. You've got Gabriel that's come in that's looked okay. And then you've got Willian, who we know is on big money and there for 3 years. But, of course, he's in the twilight of his career. Arsenal haven't signed a first-team player, I think of substantial quality that's going to improve them. And Man United, by the way, need to do business as well. But at least we had the Donny van de Beek coming in, and we already have quality players in those positions. Arsenal are just, in my opinion, they're walking this tightrope. And I feel like their fans have kind of, at least Man United fans have been vocal about, we know we need more. Arsenal fans, and I usually Gal as a prime example, have kind of daydreamed their way through this market as though they've done amazing business.
I did feel sorry for the girl last night, though. I think. I mean, I was live last night and I was watching it, and I tried to ring again, but it wouldn't let me ring in. I was trying to do the video call, it wouldn't let me ring in again.
Oh, okay.
It was just saying that you weren't online or something on Skype. But so I did feel sorry for the girl last night. I really did, and I get his point and I get his enthusiasm, but he just needs to calm down with his views a little bit. I think his views are a little bit outrageous. It's like what's his name? I-Test, the Man United fan, who slated James and everyone and saying that they were rubbish, and then he's trying to push some sort of agenda and be like, well, you know, I reckon these are going to go out and do better than the system and all this. And I'm just like, but you're sitting there slating them on one hand, but then on the other hand, you're sitting there and saying that these players are going to do well in a different team. Why? Because of Ollie. Personally, I don't think Ollie's, I've said it to you before, I don't think Ollie's the man to take us forward. I really don't. But you can see the changes. You can't deny the changes that he has made. Positive.
Mate, you see these negatives all the time. You know, I saw trending the other day. Well, I must say trending. When we beat, I don't remember who we beat the other day. When we beat Brighton, I was infused. You know, I wasn't, you know, climbing to the rafters and screaming it from the rooftops that we won a League Cup game, but I was happy we won 3-0. I saw people, I saw one United fan, I don't know, his name is Rizzy United or whatever his name is, talking about how, I think his tweet read somewhere along the lines of, this shows how bad our manager is, that his assistants have to give instructions to players. And I was sitting there and I was like, and then I saw multiple other people along the same thread and or just agreeing with it, again, yeah, that's so true. Last night I saw Gino Wijnaldum getting instructions off of whoever the names of the Liverpool coaches are. I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, see, this just, as you say, this is the delusions of people that have their own agendas. One of Man United's coaches giving advice to a player or instructions is a demonstration in their eyes that Ollie has no clue what he's doing. But yet when the current best manager in the world's team do it, it's seen as a sign of genius delegation. And you're absolutely right, the Dan James thing is it. They've all been saying for months and even a year now that he's trash and not good enough. Now that he's linked with the move away, their approach is softened to, oh, maybe there is a player in there, and they can get and a new manager can get it out of him, because what it is, he's been linked to Leeds. And Leeds are one of the clubs that these Ole Out merchants are praising at the moment, which is very weird considering it's Leeds United, because they're like, Bielsa would make us brilliant again. So then they end up in a situation where they're, look, but Bielsa wants a player that I've been calling the worst player in history for a year. How do I get myself out of this one and hold my credibility? People have these agendas, and Egal isn't in the same way. Egal's the other end of the spectrum. He's just overtly positive with everything. Like, I don't know if you heard him where he goes, he's talking about when you guys beat them on Monday and how he rewatched it and actually like saying things like Ceballos changed the game when he came on. I'm thinking, bro, you conceded one more goal and didn't have a shot on goal. What do you mean you changed the game? And maybe it's terminology a bit more of a gal, but I feel like, and that's why this transfer window is so important, because a lot of Arsenal fans have got themselves into this trust the process mentality. Yeah. Now, again, and I know I've said that with Man United, but what I will say is this: I'm trusting what Ole's doing. But if we don't bring in Tellers and Sancho or a Sancho alternative just for a year, the board have let Ole down and the process slows up because you need to keep adding players to it to make it work. Ole cannot get a tune out of a squad that isn't good enough over the course of a season. I don't care who you are. Ole isn't of the level of this. If you gave this squad to a peak Fergie, yeah, maybe. I mean, peak Fergie might be able to get this squad to win a title. But the point is, you're talking about the greatest manager of all time doing those kind of things versus someone who I think at the elite level is just above average. But I think Ole is imperative for us getting our house in order before someone better can come in anyway. We've added Josh to the call here. Josh is a Man United fan. Unmute yourself, Josh. And let us know what you're thinking and feeling, buddy. Are you there, Josh? Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect, mate. What you saying, buddy?
Okay, I just want to take a quick second to do something. If that's all right by you, of course. I got my missus is going to be watching this a little bit later.
Okay, go for
it. If I can just do a quick shout out, if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, she's recently been diagnosed with cancer, and I just want to let her know that I love her and all my thoughts are with her, and we're going to get through it together. So yeah, that's that. She watches the show with me. She's not a member, but I thought I'd throw that out there and give her a nice little surprise. Hopefully that's all right.
Of course it is. Listen, and
all the best to your wife as well, mate.
Yeah,
all the best to you.
Very sorry to hear that news, mate. But as you say, go kick its ass and get through it together, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. She's a strong one, that one. But anyway, I just want to go on at the Tellers point, if that's all right.
Of course, mate.
Basically, I just catching up on what you guys were saying just then. I think that this is all down to the board if things don't go. Everyone would agree with that, obviously. Like, I have been very hesitant the entire transfer window, knowing, despite the good changes that Ole has put in for transfer policies, that there is still a madness in Ed Woodward in every decision he makes. I mean, they're like the whole Dembele thing. I don't rate the guy. He's got talent, no doubt, but the injuries and everything else like that. Getting a loan, yeah, it's like kind of like a B grade option, but I mean, come on, this has got to be Sancho or nothing. And if we don't get Tellez, if we don't get Sancho, I mean, I'm in the 90% club, but someone has to be held accountable eventually. And I mean, I know the Glazers won't do it, but there's got to be something done. Like, I'm not going to start a revolt or anything, but it's like, I'm still waiting for something drastic to happen and for Ed to entirely screw up the entire window, because he's got it in him. He's proven it time and again. So, yeah.
Yeah, mate, I hear you on that, mate. And I think the Alex Tellez deal, let's see what happens after the Smalling situation goes through. I did have a conversation with a fairly credible journalist behind the scenes. He wasn't prepared to go on record a couple of days ago and said that there's two things he told me which are interesting, but he said that he's not in a position to go on record with it. And I think that's because the source that he's got wouldn't want him to. But he said that the Tellez deal has only been held up because they're waiting for the Smalling one to go through. That was his view. And Sancho didn't train with the team yesterday. He was at the ground, but he trained separately as an example. So there's a couple of little things that he told me, and I'm like, okay, well, and again, he's only telling me what his sources have told him, as opposed to he wasn't an eyewitness of these things. He hasn't seen contracts. So I'm hoping that these things fall into play. But again, if we were Man City fans or Liverpool fans or even Chelsea fans, we'd probably be told that and go, okay, I trust that is what is going on. We've got a few super chats to do here. First one from DS UK says, morning. Where's that gone? It's disappeared in front of me. There it is. It says, morning, Terry. Have to congratulate you on the episode of the Osbornes last night. A cracking watch. Arsenal fans had me in stitches. I appreciate that. And the memes that have come out of it are quite interesting as well. Another super chat from Alex that says, wish the caller's wife all the best. Go beat cancer. Absolutely. I'm sure we all echo exactly the same thing and same message there, my friend. We absolutely do. We've added eye test to the call. Eye test has come in. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, so I wanted to address Man United's transfers because I realized a lot of people are criticizing the Glazers, and I was at first, but then I was thinking for a second, yeah, this isn't all just the Glazers. This is Ole's fault as well, because Ole has been given, as you said a couple weeks ago, Ole is now has the final say on transfers. He is more involved in transfers, yeah?
Yeah.
They restructured the way transfers are done.
Yeah.
So I was thinking this, why don't I look at how much the Glazers have given Ole to spend and how Ole has spent it? Because I believe Ole hasn't spent it wisely. For example, he spent 80 million on Maguire. By the way, I'm not criticizing Maguire. Don't get it wrong. I think Maguire is an amazing player, but I think instead of spending 80 million on just one player, imagine we took that 80 million and spent maybe 20 million on Thiago, 20 million on Teles, maybe pay Upamecano's release clause of 40 million. Instead of spending 50 million on Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Nelson Semedo went for only 20 million. So did Hakimi to Inter Milan. So why didn't we spend? And these, you could say Aaron Wan-Bissaka is better than these two players, but is he really that much better where he's worth almost double what they went for? So I believe we could have went for one of those to Hakimi or Semedo and then spent another 20 million on another player, which will be equivalent to Aaron Wan-Bissaka himself. So what I'm trying to say is you have to look at how much Ole has been given to spend and how he has spent it, because I don't believe he spent it wisely, and he's actually been given a lot to spend.
Eye test. Let me ask you a question. So you're not actually concerned with who he's bought. So the Maguires and the AWBs, you're not concerned with that. You're just concerned with the fact that what I'm hearing is that United have overspent on these players. They've spent too much money on them. Is that right?
100%.
Okay.
I think we could have took that money and spent on more players.
Okay. So I'm really sorry to break this to your eye test, but the volume of money that is spent, the volume of money that is sanctioned on players is not within Ole's remit. Ole can say, I want player A, B, or C. It's down to Woodward and Matt Judge to ensure that they get that player for the most suitable and sensible amount of money. So Ole would want all these players for free, wouldn't he? Ole would want these players as cheaply as possible. Ole does not get involved in one element of the financial negotiations between the clubs, agents, and intermediaries. That is not within any manager's remit at any single club within the Premier League. So again, you using this as a tool to attack Ole with is ridiculous, because you've just said that the players that he's bought are fine. United have just overspent. That is quite literally the board, quite literally the Glazers. Aside from that, in terms of some areas where you need to educate yourself, is the fact that there is no way a player like Hakimi would have been sold to a Premier League team so cheaply. We all know that the Premier League teams have premiums added to them, and the main reason being because we have such huge TV revenue incomes as compared to the majority of other European clubs. There's a premium added. So if a Premier League team wanted Hakimi, you were going to be charged for 40, 50, 60 million in the good times. Maybe not in the current CV19 market, but you would definitely have been charged something along those lines. And then you speak of someone like Semedo, I think you said, why has he gone so cheaply? Because he went to a big club and didn't work out for him. You talk about a player that has flopped at a gigantic club, and he has flopped because they've sold him. There's no way Barcelona don't sell players that are killing it for them unless they do a Neymar. And they've moved on. So listen, I respect your opinions, but in terms of the money being spent, I can't help it. You're just so misguided with that. The Hakimi thing, okay, yeah, we could have gone and signed him, but if we'd have tried to sign him last summer, as an example, there was no way we're getting him for less than £50 million. So we would have been in exactly the same position. And other defenders that are on Harry Maguire's level, look how much Ruben Diaz has just cost. Just gone on cost Manchester City. Look how much Man City couldn't even afford, and they couldn't even get a deal done for Koulibaly at £80 million this summer. Last year, these players would have cost even more money because the market has regressed by about 26, 27%. because of the pandemic that we've been in. So I'm really sorry to say this, ITES, but I think what you're saying is so off the chart on an opinion basis, but also on a factually, you're so wrong.
Can I just ask? Sorry.
No, go on, mate. You go. I'll go next.
All you can say, all you can say, if he sees that the Glazers are about to spend 80 million on Maguire, he could be like, bro, don't spend 80 million on just Maguire. Let's spend it wisely. He could have said that to Glazers. Let's take that 80 million and spend on 3 other players. Yeah, for equivalent, and that could add up to 80 million. Instead of spending 80 million on just one player, and it's not like.
Yeah. But by the way, I've just checked. The Hakimi deal was actually £40 million, so it wasn't that much cheaper than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But I thought I'd just go and check that on there. Listen, I get your points, but I think what you're trying to do. I'm going to go to Terry Tibbs in 1 second. I think what you're trying to do is take every single problem and make it an Ollie problem, so you can push your agenda to get him out. You're as transparent as a window, mate. Go on, Terry. Terry Tibbs. Go, mate.
Okay, what I'll say to you is, do you have an understanding how transfers work? Okay, so what happens usually is the manager will pick out a player that he wants, or a scouting team. He will tell the scouting team to go and look at a player. The scouting team will then watch the player. The scouting team will then report back to the manager. The manager will then give the list to the board, and then the board will then say, okay, we need to go out and get these players. How much is it going to cost? A bunch of financial people look over it, break down the numbers, then they go out and get the player. It's not as simple as you're making out, eye test. Oh, why did we waste 80 million on Maguire? You needed a defender, and he's came in, and fair enough, he's been, he's had a few bad games, but you know what? He's also had great games as well. And he's
what I'm trying to say is, we could have for the same price as Maguire, 80 million, we could have spent that 80 million on more than just one player. We could have bought a centre back and a CDM.
Okay, but woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, but there's something different on that side, though. But you got to remember that this is the player that Ole wanted. He put it up there. He said, "Go and get him," and it's down to Woodward going, "All right, you want him that badly. We're going to go for him." Leicester was the other side of that. They didn't want to sell him anything less than, say, 80 million was the fee they basically said. United paid it up front and go, all right, I've got him for you. There you go. So it works both ways.
Exactly. And Leicester weren't dropping their price on Maguire. It was the fact of the matter was, Ollie wanted a big commanding centre-back. Yeah. Maguire was the only one available at the time. Right. So Man United paid a premium on Maguire because of his contract length. Then he paid a premium on him because, for some reason, English players, you'd always pay a premium on them because they're English anyway, which is totally stupid. But United had to pay that 80 million to get that centre back in. Imagine if United test wouldn't have paid that 80 million. You'd be singing a totally different tune on this show, and you'd be like, Ollie's a disgrace. We didn't get Maguire. I had to pay the 80 million for him. And I'm sorry, mate, and I'm a Liverpool fan, and I'm telling you, you're running an agenda against something that just isn't there.
It's so clear. Go on, Josh. Sorry.
United at the club anyway. Not got enough transparency from the top to the bottom. The last thing that they need is fans like you. I mean, you said you sat there last night and thought about it and thought it was the Glazers' fault. You've got a commercial director, right? You've got a commercial director in a director of football's position. Fair enough, Ed.
He doesn't know anything about football.
But that's not his fault. The Glazers have put him in that position.
Exactly, and they're not going to get rid of him because he got the club on debt, and he earns them he gets them millions and millions per year in dividends and shares. It's a win-win for the Glazers, and it's destructing the club from the inside out.
Yeah, the buck stop with the Glazers. As soon as you lose this narrative, I mean, you've just turned out and said, why didn't we go and get Thiago? Because he didn't want to come to you. Man United inquired and he's already making a deal.
And that's the element, again, I test, which you're allowing your own narcissism to damage your football opinion, is you would have liked Thiago. But by the way, nobody last summer thought Thiago would have been available for 20 million. He wouldn't have been available for 20 million pound in the pre-pandemic world, and with 2 years remaining on his contract. So Thiago last year would have cost you 60, 70 million. And I know what you would have been saying last year if United were going for Thiago or Ollie was going for Thiago. You would have been saying
too much money.
Well, no, not even that. You would have been saying, well, yeah, too much money for an injury-prone player. As an example, I see what you do, ITS. You ring the show a lot, and I respect your opinions. and in the fact that you have the confidence to come on and say it. What I see from you all the time is you will move your opinions and go from pillar to post. If we're linked with a player who's injury prone, you say, oh, that if that same injury prone player goes to a rival club, you'll complain. The same people that didn't want Gareth Bale because of his age and his injury problems will complain if Gareth Bale starts killing it for Tottenham. Why? See, Ollie got it wrong. He should have gone in for him. And that's fine to say that if your opinion in the first place was there's no way we should be going for Gareth Bale. You know, your opinion actually matches that of the managers when he made the decision. You just allow hindsight to make you hate on somebody rather than saying, well, actually, we've all made a mistake on that one. And that's your own narcissism. And you'll want to not have Ollie there. At the end of the day, Harry Maguire has come into the club along with AWB, and our defensive record has improved by over 40% across all metrics. That is astounding. If you signed a striker and your goal scoring metrics went up by 40%, you'd be shouting from the rooftops that you've just signed this new Don Daddio, who's the main man. But defensively, no one wants to do it. Now, I know this year we haven't started off defensively too well, but I'm going to be releasing a thread later on this. Nor's any team, really. Like, if you look at Man United opening 4 games, or opening 4 games of the season, and you compare it to all the other top 6 opening games of this campaign, on goals conceded, number of clean sheets, goals scored, win percentages, barring Liverpool, who actually theoretically got their first loss last night, or their first non-win, everybody's pretty much in the same ballpark. Everyone's ranging from 50, everybody's ranging from 50 to 80% on win percentages. Everyone's conceded 5+ goals so far this season. There is no sort of, oh, look how bad we are. Everybody's been very sketchy, but the difference is with someone like you, This
is consistent across the board, though.
Exactly.
I mean, you look at game week 2, there was something like 44 goals scored, which is the highest of any game day in Premier League history, or something. Yeah. That says everything you need to know. It's not a bad performance or a good performance from any club. It's that this is a completely restructured season, and off the back of a lengthy break and then a short preseason. So teams are underprepared, some are overprepared, and it's a madness at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing I'm going to say, Ites. So I'll let you respond in just a minute, mate. I think your agenda is clear to see, and you're going to put everything on Ollie. Why don't you why are you not coming on here and talking about the fact that we have our best unbeaten run away from home in 21 years since the treble winning team, 16 games away from home, unbeaten? Why is that something you're not proud? You know, would you want to congratulate and thank Ollie for doing that for us, please?
Well, it's a good record, but my thing with Ollie is I don't see it going to the next level where we're winning Champions League. I don't see him building us to that level. So it's a nice record, but
yeah, but
I'm looking at
And I agree with you. I agree with you that I don't know whether he could take us to the next level. What you're missing out, and a lot of the Ole Out brigade are missing out, is the foresight and the football knowledge and football understanding. And actually, in some respects, the brain capacity to understand there is a middle ground between being ready to win those tournaments and where we were at the end of Jose Mourinho's tenure of rebuilding everything from top to bottom. And this is why this summer is quite important to see, because if, for instance, some people's prediction is right, that we back a manager, get in the Champions League, and then we don't back a manager. If we never break that cycle, we're probably never going to win those things again. So it becomes an irrelevance who the manager is, because we've had 2 great managers in that have gone through that bad process with the Glazers and Woodward, and we haven't won any of the major trophies with them. So the Ollie attacking becomes an absolute nonsense if we've seen 2 of the greatest managers of the last 25 years fail under a system. Now, what I believe we're trying to do, or we've told Ollie we're trying to do, is I feel like we're trying to create a new way of doing things. But if we revert back to character and we don't change and we hang Ollie out to dry by not backing him as we go into this second full season of his term, I'm not angry with Ollie. I'm angry with the board. And your fact that you just want to attack Ollie, it's just, and you, by the way, if Poch comes in, gets backed in his first year, comes second, and then the following summer we don't back him, who would you then blame? What if you know, it doesn't make sense to me. We've added Bryant to the call here. Bryant, what do you want to say, mate?
Hey, Terry, it's been a little bit, man. How have you been?
Yeah, no, it's been a while, mate. It's been a while. How are things your end?
Doing good. I actually moved across the country about 2.5 weeks ago, so that's why I haven't been it would be on as much. But you guys have been doing great work, so just, hats off to you.
I appreciate it. I just want to address one thing. A few people in this Terry are defending the Glazers. No, the one defending the Glazers here is eye test. I'm the one who's blaming.
I was defending the Glazers. I've never listen. I'm a Liverpool fan, and I ring this show all the time. I've had conversations with Terry time and time again, and we both agreed and blame the Glazers for everything. So people in the comments saying he's a Glazer sympathiser and all that, go and have a word with yourself.
Big up the comments. Big up the comments.
Go on, Brian. Brian, say what you got to say, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been having a couple conversations with people here and there on social media lately about this kind of what's going on with Manchester United. And honestly, Terry, I just come to a place where I think that a lot of Manchester United fans have just lost their minds. I think that they're so desperate to get back to kind of these successful winning ways that they're willing to throw away the process that it takes to undo so much of what has been done so poorly over the past few years with many different managers. And I think that in Ole, a lot of Manchester United fans, and I could be incorrect in this, but I think a lot of Manchester United fans to a degree have seen progress through Ole, but are very quickly wanting Ole to take that step from progressing the side to winning major honors. And the team is just not at that place just from a quality standpoint, from a depth standpoint right now. And that's actually hindering a lot of the players that I think that could work at this club. I look at Daniel James, for an example. A lot of Manchester United fans think that Daniel James is a totally finished player. We've had the kid for a year. And while he may, and like, don't mishear me in this. So people are totally entitled to their opinions. With their eye test is their eye test. If they don't see quality in him, if they don't see an ability to progress and to aid the team, that's totally and utterly fair. But in my mind, I think that a lack of depth can actually hinder the progress of a player's ability in the same way that quality depth can actually aid a player, because then you actually can work your way up the pecking order in the squad based on merit and not necessity. And Daniel James has been played so much out of necessity when he's clearly not ready. And that can't help him, especially when the pressure that he's getting from Manchester United fans, who I believe have lost their minds, is way too much on him.
And Brian,
you know what I mean?
Brian, that's a great point. So if we look at William Saliba reportedly leaving Arsenal on loan, it isn't because I was bantering last night. It's not because Mikel Arteta has looked at him and gone, "Oh, we've signed a dud." It's because he knows he's not ready. Now, imagine Arsenal were in a situation where they couldn't afford to send him out on loan, and he had to play not ready. He potentially could have a disastrous season and never, ever, ever recover as a football player. It just may not. It's just like, well, it could absolutely destroy him. And maybe that is what has happened to Dan James, which is why the club are looking to loan him away, hopefully to let him rebuild his confidence and come back. And again, what you have done there, Brian, and I know it offends some of the callers when I say that, you've actually used your brain. You've had some critical thought. You've looked at the Dan James problem from both sides of the coin. Yes, he hasn't been good enough. But are there some mitigating factors outside of he just isn't good enough, or Ole's a trash manager, that could have played a part in this, and you found them? That's logic. You've applied logic to the problem. That logic then stops you from being angry, because you think, okay, like, I don't actually know what the issue is because it's all hypothesis, but I'm looking at it from 3 or 4 different angles. Let's see what comes from fruition. And I'm not saying we can't be angry at times, but every time I listen to eye test, it's the same thing. You know, we know what he's going to say about Rashford. We know what he's going to say about McTominay. We know what he's going to say about Ole. Equally, we know what he's going to say about Martial and Pogba and how brilliant they are, but not attribute any praise to the manager for getting them there. And it's just obvious. Like, there are certain people on social media, United fans, I know what they're going to tweet before they tweet or say it. You know, it's if we would have got an easy group yesterday in the Champions League, it would have been no point having an easy group, though, because as soon as we get a big hard team in knockouts, we're going out anyway. We get a hard group.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not going. Whatever happens, it's going to be a negative spin. So it is what it is. Do me a favor, everyone tuning in. Nearly 2,000 people this morning. Hit that like button for us right about now, please. It's so important that we get that done. Let's change the subject quickly. ITS, I want to come to you on this one. Houssem Aouar to Arsenal. Do you see it happening?
I think he might go because Lyon haven't qualified for Champions League, and I remember a couple months ago, Lyon said they're going to sell a couple players. Memphis Depay might go to Barca. Aouar might leave, so I think they could get him, and I think Arsenal are going to get an amazing player. He's the closest thing to Iniesta out of all the youngsters, in my opinion. He's a baller, so I think they're getting a quality player, in my opinion, and I think it could happen.
Yeah, I think he certainly may leave Lyon. Arsenal would make me nervous if indeed I was an Arsenal fan. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. They truly would make me worried in relation to that. They just got to go and bid the money. But we know Arsenal work on a shoestring budget. But having said that, supposedly Mikel Arteta has sussed out Jurgen Klopp, Terry Tibbs. What did you make of some Arsenal fans' reactions to beating Liverpool last night? And I'm hearing them, 3 out of 4 times he's beaten you, etc., etc. Do you think it's that overreaction from Arsenal fans which creates the overhype, which leads to their downfall every season?
I think so. Arteta's figured out Jurgen Klopp because he's beat us on penalties again. Let's have it right, Arsenal fans. You've got a mod in here, Terry, called E3 Boss. He's one of them that comments. Let's have it straight. We had out probably a second string team last night, and you had a lot of people that would start in your starting lineup, and you've got that £72 million. I like to call him spider legs because his legs look gangly when he moves. He's awful, isn't he? I mean, he's £72 million. I mean, you have had your pants pulled down with Pepe. Seriously. I mean, it says everything, doesn't it, when a club goes out and buys a 30-odd-year-old Willian to come in and replace him. Do you know what I mean? It just says it all. I think, Arsenal fans have got majorly gassed and you just need to be humble and know the place. You haven't been relevant since about 2004. So you just need to know your place, really. You're making good stride under Arteta, but you know what? You're in Tottenham's shadow at the minute, and I love it. It's great. Love watching it. So Arsenal fans have really annoyed me with saying, he's figured Klopp out and all this. And listen, you've got lack of poop up front, haven't you? Do you know what I mean? 50 million for him, scoring 28 goals in the French league, and you're all raving about him, throwing your hands up like he's won the lottery. He's garbage, absolutely trash.
Yeah, and the Ivorian Theo Wilcott as well. Like Arsenal fans are hilarious, bro. They're hilarious because they're just. It's interesting. It's winning the FA Cup and the start of the season. They've just allowed themselves to get so. We're there, and I'm like, bro, man. Like, I can just see how this is going to end, and we'll see. They'll be the ones come February that'll be raging, in my opinion. But look, you never know. They might shut us all up. You never quite know. But boys, I appreciate you all coming on, having your say this morning. Brian, lovely to hear from you again. Terry Tibbs, thank you. And Josh, again, a big heartfelt get well soon to your other half. And I hope that she kicks 10 tons of shit out of cancer and gets better, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for that.
Not a problem at all. Everyone who's tuned in this morning, thank you. Make sure you're hitting that like button. It's so important to hit the like button for the independent, non-corporate owned YouTube channels like ourselves, because we do get suppressed. We do get pushed down the pecking order, no matter how popular our shows are, no matter how great our growth is. Without you, we are going nowhere. So I do need your support on that. Whether you're my biggest fan or a United fan, Liverpool fan, doesn't matter. You clearly enjoy the Football Terrace community. So please do that for us. And go into the description below and subscribe to the Football Terrace Clips channel. Go check out all the clips videos we have on there as well. Very important for our growth there as well. Do me a big favor. Make sure you're hitting that like button, as I say. Back later on today, 9 p.m. tonight, by the way, Tottenham, Manchester United preview. Josh King is going to be with us, which I'm really looking forward to. Also, we're going to have Mayor on the show. You saw her the other night. Maybe Mel back as well. Both those Tottenham young ladies, Tottenham fans are going to be with us. I will be on, and we're going to be having a couple of Man United fans, of course, previewing that game. Another top 6 preview show that will get feisty. So make sure you are tuning in. Not your usual face you just see on all the other preview shows, the same typical people. This is going to be heated. I'm really looking forward to it. But until next time, take care of yourselves. God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.